Hello, dear friends. We are humble witnesses and participants in a world in intense ferment. Opinion piece. Struggle for power. Tactics of destruction. Things are heating up. China could help Russia. Attempts to control the planet. We are living in two worlds. If you lack faith, you will be in doubt. Political and financial turmoil, as in the Cuban Missile Crisis. The planet needs a makeover. Elon Musk confirms he's buying Twitter. Let's start. The world has become a mad scramble for political and economic power in various countries, which is creating a lot of geopolitical tensions that result in dystopian news such as denunciations, resignations, purges, arrests, and even wars. This makes it very difficult to report objectively because each side gives an opposing version of events. Everyone seeks power and control over humankind, but human beings want to be free and independent, without anyone controlling us. The history of freedom is the history of the struggle to limit the power of government. Things are heating up and are about to reach breathtaking biblical proportions, says Juan Osabin. In his view, there is a strong possibility that a false flag could be used to stop the midterm elections. It could be national or international events. Dragon family sources say the battle is about to take a dramatic turn in November, when the midterm elections would lead to regime change, writes Benjamin Fulford. Distraction tactics. Information will start coming in fast from both sides. Something will be to deceive the other side. Something will be true. Moves and counter-moves to mislead the other side and keep the public on tenterhooks. Taiwan, Russia, China, Ukraine. Information will come from many directions and sources, some on the ground, some from the satellites above. About half would be accurate, the other half would be disinformation. If you lack the faith to possess the necessary certainty, you will reside in some level of doubt, says Poet Doc. If you want to know who rules over you, just look for who you can't criticize. We are living in two worlds, the world we see and the world we feel, which is far from the official version. Not everything is as it seems. Authoritarian monsters wreak havoc on our freedom in a disguised dictatorship, writes John W. Whitehead. News of the reset. On Tuesday, 25th October, a war alarm went off as military aircraft activity tripled. It all happened after the QFS was launched last Thursday. Many countries have already announced their gold-backed currency. We just don't know the exact timing of these actions, but we do know that the truth has to be revealed to the public. The coalition is in control and the positive outcome is assured. Humanitarians will be activated around the world to change this planet forever to a high-tech divine star in the galaxy. Many governments have resigned. This has happened in Russia and Japan. Soon in China, the CCP will be asked to resign. Many old leaders have been arrested. The people must take responsibility for having elected wrong politicians. And we will have no politicians, no priests, no ministers, no big organizations to tell us how to live and what to do. We will take responsibility for obeying the divine laws on earth and in the cosmos, There is no intermediary between you and the Creator to know the divine. Europe. Liz Truss resigns as UK Conservative leader. Power struggle in the UK. History shows that when a monarch rules for more than 50 years, his death is usually followed by a period of power struggle and civil unrest. This is happening now in England. A three-way battle for power is being fought there between the anti-monarchist Gnostic Illuminati who control Charles III, the royalists who want to enthrone King William V, and the native Britons who want to have the first King Harold since 1066. There is turbulence as this power struggle proceeds. Australia records annual inflation of 7.3%, the highest since 1990. Germany has already made a secret deal with Putin. When Germany leaves, the dominoes will fall. No wonder there are rumors that Germany wants to join BRICS along with so many other countries. Last week, in more than 500 cities and villages, people took to the streets in Germany. Protests are happening every day. The German government considers Nord Stream 2 unfit to supply gas. Also in France, mass demonstrations protest against Ursula von der Leyen. Sooner than later, there could be a revolution in France. They know how to do it because they have a lot of historical experience. The ECB raises interest rates to 2% and doesn't rule out further hikes to curb inflation. The ECB raises rates another 0.75% to the highest level since 2009. USA. A poll shows that 80% of Americans think the mainstream media pose a threat to democracy. Elon Musk confirms he's buying Twitter. The tycoon warns that there is a great danger that social media is going to split between the far right and the far left, creating more hatred and division in our society. Americas. Authoritarianism has deepened in El Salvador, Nicaragua, and Venezuela, says the NGO World Justice Project. Venezuela, Nicaragua, and Cuba condemned blockades and sanctions at ECLAC. The Costa Rican government initiates a process to limit the pensions of ex-deputies. Argentina and Spain renew their understanding and discuss increased investment. Ukraine. Israel will not send weapons to Ukraine, Defense Minister Benny Gantz said on Wednesday. The French ambassador to Ukraine says he is leaving Kiev because Zelensky has already fled, so there is no reason to be there. Finland will allow NATO to place nuclear weapons on the border with Russia. Putin says that the era of Western domination of world affairs is coming to an end, that he does not consider himself an enemy of the West, and that no one will be able to dictate to Russia what model of society to build. China. China could help Russia, and there would be a kind of tension similar to the Cuban Missile Crisis, which could last for weeks. The big question is who will lead the world after the storm. You are about to witness a stunning and astonishing turnaround, a change of destiny. After the storm is calm, prepare to be stunned and amazed. China is led by technocrats who seem to be trying to make the country a better place. It is true that Xi Jinping has become a dictator for life, but it is also true that in reality he would only be a symbol of unity without real power, as he is in the hands of a collective Chinese mind. In any case, if the West does not radically improve its own systems of governance by restoring the primacy of science, democracy, freedom of the press, and meritocracy, then it will only be a matter of time before we are absorbed into the Chinese hive mind. Economic crisis. People skip meals because they can't afford food. Credit Suisse loses 4 billion Swiss francs in the third quarter, according to Reuters. Credit Suisse will cut 9,000 jobs and look for new investments. Meanwhile, attorneys general in 19 US states subpoenaed Bank of America, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, Morgan Stanley, and Wells Fargo, requesting documents related to the company's participations in the United Nations Alliance Banking Zero Network. X22 report. Central banking is pushing financial institutions to push for control mechanisms to get people used to it, but it is a failure. The European Union is imploding, and more nations are waking up and going their own way. People are not buying the full narrative, and they know that the Davos Forum is pushing this agenda. If the lights go out, remember that the good guys are in control. Freedom. Towards a New Free World by Liam 77 from ZGI. We live in a time that is out of touch with reality. Societies function without vision or trust. Nothing has been learnt from the past about what it really means to govern. There can be no real change under existing conditions of economic imprisonment. Governments oversee the subjugation of people within their territories and often declare war on people on foreign borders, such as Iraq, Libya, Syria, and perhaps Iran. We want freedom to act voluntarily, freedom to associate with whomever you wish, or on whatever terms you wish, as long as you do not hinder the ability of others to enjoy the same freedom. The Ottoman Turks, the Habsburgs of Austria, the Bourbons of France, and the Vatican created a banking system that endures to this day. The origins of their fractional reserve banking system are revealed in the ancient treasuries of Rome, Persia, India, and China, and in many world empires today. In Europe, in the Middle Ages, control of this system was given to the people and a group of affiliated monarchs. In 1868, the Jesuits in the Vatican, with the help of the British monarchy, created a global debt payment system based on the central banking system that printed fiat notes or declarations of debt. In April 2008, Joseph Ratzinger, Pope Benedict XVI, failed in his attempt to claim a large chunk of Israel welfare funds. He told to his closest colleagues, in quotes, "The small citizen cannot handle this money well, but the church can. Because you say so, I answer." Pope Francis admits priests and nuns consume pornography. He urged seminarians and clerics to block or delete such content on their mobile devices to keep temptation out of their hands. Tribulations. Puffness says, "The times are now very interesting in many ways. Cosmically speaking, we are seeing the beginning of a new era, and it can be done with a minimal alphabet. The operators are doing their job, ensuring an effective transition and launching the rebuilding phase of this planet. Many platforms are turning in quiet, well and dispensing information as they can to provide enlightenment on many issues that impact us all. This is a welcome theme. From that, we can see the high points and put the pieces of the puzzle together. The attempt to control this planet on an ongoing basis has failed, and the writing is on the wall. Many investors are struggling to sell setting stocks and deflect from possible negative consequences. When investors sell their entire stock, that multinational disappears. The planet needs a makeover, and the first step is to get rid of the parasites. Like South Africa, which needs a lot of money to renew its electricity grid, and that would take about 10 years. Such problems are prevalent all over the world, and these areas are of critical importance. To push for new technologies will take time. Deploying such things is not a 5-minute job, and it will take thousands of us to do it. This is part of the reconstruction process that is beginning. All the political and financial tribulations we are going through have to end, and therein lies the new beginning. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.